Where does someone even begin with something like this? Man, I just hope I get to talk about everything I want to talk about because there's a million things that are involved in this Chicago Bears magical 2025 season. But bear with me and let's see if I can get through it all. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Danger Knock podcast. I'm your host, AcroNM, and today we got a magical episode. Normally, I do movie reviews, TV like show reviews. This is a little bit different. I don't think I've ever done a sports episode yet, but if I basically told you what happened with the Chicago Bears was a movie, you'd literally say it was an unrealistic movie. But here we are in the real world and pinching myself. I'm still here. I'm not dreaming, but this Chicago Bears delivered something to me that I've never experienced in my 29 years of being a Bears fan. And yes, since I was born, my dad had sat me up in front of the TV to watch Bulls and Bears games. So that's all I've ever known. And because of that, all I've ever known was mostly disappointment. The Bulls won a couple championships while I was technically alive, but I was a baby, so it doesn't really register. But apart from the Bulls and the Bears, like I'm not really as invested into teams. But those two, it's just like, man, I just been waiting and waiting. And this year, the Bears have finally kind of broken some like Stanley Yelnats curse or something. I don't know what's going on, but this ride has been crazy. It's so much so that I almost did this podcast a couple of weeks ago when we first beat the Packers. Um, a lot of what I could have said then, I could still say now, and I was just thinking that there was more to come. So I shouldn't have just like jumped the gun too quickly, which is a risk because we could have done bad since then, which we kind of did, but bounced back from. But I'm glad I'm doing this now because the cardiac bears are back, baby. I think though I want to preface like kind of where my fanship kind of evolved from with the Bears and dating back to like my first kind of solidified memories of this Bears of not of this Bears organization. The last time we had success in terms of going to the Super Bowl was the 2006 Chicago Bears when we went to the Super Bowl in '07. And I still remember that vividly, that Super Bowl when I was like 10 years old, just warming up chocolate milk in the microwave, trying to make hot chocolate, which I guess technically is the case, but it's not really hot chocolate. But hey, it was a struggle meal, hot chocolate. Watching with my cousins and just seeing that team and just following. They're having a NFC champs poster on my wall with like Devin Hester, Lance Briggs, Brian Urlacher. I don't know if Cedric Benson was on that poster, but Musin Muhammad, which I was my favorite player because I thought he was Muslim, but apparently he wasn't even Muslim. But uh, Tommy Jones, another one of my favorite players, our running back at the time, or a fullback. I don't know. I don't even know if we have fullbacks anymore. But that team was special, man. That defense was unreal. That defense kind of was like compared to the 85 Bears defense, which is the last time the Bears have even won a championship. And it was just a special team, man. And I really wish we could have took that home, that Super Bowl home. But unfortunately, Tony Dungy, Peyton Manning, and the Indianapolis Colts had other ideas. But that was just a special time. But since then, like even saying success was few and far between is a stretch. I mean, we had some time with like Jay Cutler, and he was a talented quarterback, but never enough to get us like over the hill. And it always seemed like he didn't have the passion to like play for us. Like he had the skill set to get him by, but the passion wasn't really there with him. And we had other pieces around him, but it just never materialized to anything. And that was like our prime quarterback because coming from that, we had Rex Grossman who took us to the Super Bowl somehow. But I would say actually instead of taking us to the Super Bowl, he was more carried to the Super Bowl by like our defense. But anyways, all that to say, it's been dark times for the Bears for as long as I can remember. And ever since like that like 2010 team and having Lovey Smith as our coach, everything has been like high turnover between our coaches, our players, and it just never felt like something you could get behind. I think the last kind of combination that had some kind of motion was uh Matt Nagy as a coach and Mitchell Trubisky as our quarterback. And then that ultimately led to the infamous double doink against the Philadelphia Eagles, which I think was in the first round wild card round of the playoffs. And that just kind of epitomized our like bad luck. It was just unreal how we could lose that game of a field goal. And since then, it got even worse. And it's been just dark times, dark times, dark times. And most recently of these dark times was, oh man, I don't even like saying his name. Literally, I'm already getting mad. Was hiring Matt Eberflus as our head coach. This dude was the ultimate dumbass. He would find us ways to lose in fashions unimaginable. The way we're winning now was the way we were losing last year. And even before that, we had like a rising, I guess, star quarterback at the time in Justin Fields, which I was a big Justin Fields fan. And he kind of gave me like even a resurgence, even though we weren't doing that well, but like he brought at least good energy. And then essentially just having Eberflus kind of squander that, and then ultimately having our our king Caleb Williams come in, almost squandered that too. And he was the first ever coach that we fired mid-season. And not only was he bad at the actual act of coaching, he established such a like a even in wins like a loser ass culture to the point where we'd win games occasionally, and his post game like victory speeches to the team sounded as if we lost. And I could place like a clip right here of what that looks like.
We talked about it, fellas, doing the basics, right? Running the ball, stopping the run, but honoring the football, right? Taking the ball away and protecting it on offense. We did the basics of football, right? But when you add the passion, okay, that you guys have for each other, okay, then it's special, right? A lot of guys can do the basics, but when you add that passion, the chemistry, right, that we have together, then it's special. And that's what it is.
And it was literally so depressing. No one's even like on board with him, even after a win. No energy, no anything. And Caleb Williams is like a generational quarterback in the draft that were able to get, um, thanks to Lovey Smith somehow. Like our previous coach, who was then currently coaching the Houston Texans, got them a win that ruined their chances of getting the number one pick, which then we ended up getting in the next draft, which we used, which we actually we got Bryce Young. Whatever. It's a whole complicated thing between us getting Bryce Young and trading him and getting DJ Moore. Blah 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 blah. You could look that up. Won't get into that. But ultimately, the stars aligned, and we ended up getting Caleb Williams. Godsend. And I guess I'm doing a lot of this kind of exposition for people who may not be kind of privy to what's going on and why this season, just like with the context, feels so extra magical. But it's always defying the odds. At all times, we're just defying the odds. And I've never experienced anything like this. Even when like the Bulls were doing great, we were the number one seed. And we were never like the favorites. It was always LeBron James's Miami Heat being the favorites, especially coming out of the East. But we were always established as one of the best teams in the league. Right now, we are achieving things that are unreal while people are still looking at us like we're a fraudulent team. And there's a lot like to be said about this team in terms of inconsistencies, both on offense and defense. But one thing about this team is the culture has changed. There is just a drive, a grit, a determination, a even after mistakes have been made, even after a hole has been dug, they don't quit. And I think that's all testament to our new coach, Ben Johnson, and obviously our new quarterback, Caleb Williams. And that synergy between those two is unreal. And the Ben Johnson is like, for those who don't know, was the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions and is known as like an offensive savant to the point we don't have an offensive coordinator right now. He is the offensive coordinator plus head coach. And he came into this organization from the get go, like with an energy shift and essentially telling these players, like, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And something like that is what I think kind of propelled Caleb forward. And they even said that they didn't even like see eye to eye in the beginning, and Caleb was even wondering whether Ben Johnson even liked him. But coming from a previous coach where Caleb Williams uh had to like beg them, or even I don't even know if they ended up doing it. They didn't even watch film with him. They didn't even go over his play with him. They didn't develop him as a quarterback to the point where in my opinion, I'm like, this year's Caleb Williams is official rookie year because last year was like a wash, com- considering that coaching staff that we had. And a lot of what Ben Johnson's doing is not only just like technical in terms of like establishing our offense um and calling plays and creating different kind of schemes, but even culturally he's established kind of unity where other players and teams are like looking at it and it just seems so different than anything I've ever seen before. It seems like a high school locker room in terms of energy. Uh and I think it's a special combination of the players and the coach, and it's just like a perfect mix because Ben Johnson came from Detroit and as an offensive coordinator tried to establish some of this culture and it wasn't received. Like for example, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a star wide receiver on the Detroit Lions and he was on a podcast making fun of Ben Johnson's now uh, kind of what's it called? Iconic good better best kind of chant at the end of games.
I'm proud of you guys. To do what you just did, I said it at halftime, right? This is one that you'll never forget. Yes, sir. This is one you'll never forget, all right? Bring it on in. Bring it on in. Good, better, best. Good, better, best. Never let it rest. Never let it rest. Good gets better. Good gets better. It better gets better. It better gets better. Bears on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Like they were making fun of it. And now it's become a part of the Chicago Bears identity. It's on like merch. It's you could see it you go in the city, you see Bears kind of signages and banners and you see good, better, best. And that chant kind of really kind of solidifies that this team is all in, all together. And you just look at each one of the faces in the locker room as this chant is happening and you see everyone is dialed in. And in comparison to the previous Eberflus, Coach Eberflus, like even in wins, they were not kind of unified and dialed in. It would take like a player to get them going to any degree. And another thing about Eberflus, and I'll get into this because I want to get into like specifically this season, not only all of our kind of comeback victories, but our kind of rivalry with the Packers. So I might kind of get all over the place, but like I said in the beginning, I don't even know how to get started with this, but we're just going to take it and see how it goes. But Eberflus was literally going to basketball games with our enemy, Green Bay Packers head coach, Matt LaFleur, and just being buddy-buddy after having a losing Probably did. I don't even think he won a game against the Packers in his tenure with the Bears. And he's over here just chilling and watching I think like a Milwaukee Bucks game with him on the sideline eating popcorn. Like what is this? This rivalry between the Packers has been going since the 1920s. I think 1920 specifically. It's an over 100-year rivalry, and it's the biggest rivalry I'd say in American sports. And you're over here being buddy buddy with them, and now when the Bears finally, after many many years of being bullied by the Packers and being destroyed by the Packers, we finally have the upper hand, and Ben Johnson is bringing in that energy, and he's saying shit like "fuck the Packers, I hate those fucking guys." Now everyone's like, "Oh, you shouldn't say that," or "Oh, you shouldn't give like a 1 second handshake," even though Matt Lafleur was doing that with Ben Johnson when he beat us at the beginning of the year or earlier in the year. And first of all these Packers fans are so salty, and I don't think they're used to being on this side of the coin and being very hypocritical, saying like, "Oh, Ben Johnson has no class, the Bears have no class, we're like kind of we're living rent free in their heads." And listen, honestly, as a Bears fan, beating the Packers feels like they say, "Oh, it's your Super Bowl." Not gonna lie, it does kind of feel like that sometimes. But they would talk so much shit when they had Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers would do like stupid ass discount double check on us, his celebration, or he'd say, "I fucking own you. I fucking own the Pack or the Bears." No one ever had an issue with that. But now all of a sudden, uh, the Bears are on the other side of it. The rabbit got the gun, right? And now everyone all of a sudden, all these Packers fans are coming out the woodwork crying about fucking sportsmanship and shit like that. And honestly, they should be happy about this. This kind of energy where Ben Johnson's bringing, being unapologetic and hating the Packers, is needed in the sport. Like, there's no real rivalries. Like, you even look at the NBA, there's no rivalries, nothing worth mentioning. The most iconic rivalry between in an NBA is like the Celtics and the Lakers, and that literally doesn't even matter anymore. So Ben Johnson doing this is uh, reinvigorating that energy into the NFL. That maybe other people might follow suit, and we might get some more kind of actual, like, I don't want to say animosity, even though I kind of do mean that, but like energy between teams and caring, and that it's not all just like uh jersey swapping fests at the end of the game. Which I'm a fan of that too. Like, I like when players uh like have good sportsmanship or whatever at the end of a game, and I like when I do like when they're like nice to each other and stuff like that. But there's also a place for this. There's also an energy for this, and especially like having your coach be like that, it's contagious. And you could see that with this Chicago Bears team, that they're unified and they have energy. Are they perfect? No. But that's all you can ask for in a first year head coach with, in my opinion, a first year quarterback, because I don't count last year for Caleb Williams. So I'm just so on this hype train. I'm doing the good, better, best chance that Ben Johnson's got in the post games. Um, and it's so funny to see like Caleb Williams like come into his own, literally becoming a superstar. And he kind of has like an opposite, or not opposite, but like he's got like a different energy than Ben Johnson in terms of his like, he's like literally locked in and kind of has the will to win, like similar to like a Tom Brady type, which is why I think Tom Brady loves Caleb so much. But he also has like that lighter side to him where he makes jokes and he's more like calm, and he's it's funny, like his skill with talking with the media is like amazing. Like, he always says the right thing. Like, Caleb's always saying the right thing, even in like post games. Like, Ben Johnson will emphasize everything that we did good, especially after a win. And then probably later we'll discuss the things that we could work on as a team. And then Caleb Williams will come in and be and say, listen, we gotta get better. We gotta get better. And he'll still give credit where credit is due, but his focus is on the ultimate goal, and that's winning. And man, this dude is tough. People talking about, oh, he's painting his nails, he's drinking his matcha, he's wired headphones, he's zesty, quote unquote. This dude is tough. Literally spraining his ankle against Green Bay in the playoffs. Just getting up and then getting after it and making play after play, clutch moment after clutch moment. Um, it's just unreal. And I think that's like a good time to like, and I think one thing about Caleb is like, in my opinion, he's going to be a superstar. One, because of his skill, and two, because of his personality. It's funny because he's like the ultimate Gen Z quarterback in terms of like his personality off field. And I think it brings in a lot more fans to the Bears to the point where people who are not from Chicago, who don't know anything, will gravitate towards Caleb as a fan if they're not already hating on him. And even like a lot of like of the women or like the female audience is like learning about the Bears and becoming fans of the Bears because of Caleb Williams and his like off-field antics, like his memes that he shares and his painting of his nails and his matcha tea drinking. Um, so it's bringing a lot more eyes to the Bears, whereas we were kind of like a forgotten team. Whereas in all reality, we could be America's team. Like forget Dallas, like the Chicago Bears could be America's team. I do kind of like having the Bears to ourselves and just living in the underdog mentality, but he's like establishing a new culture, a new identity for this Bears team that we've never seen before. We've never seen anyone really even care to that extent before, to the point where he's even establishing like his like hands symbol for the Bears. Like he'll be like, "Da Bears," and do this where that caught on. I'm like, how has no one ever even thought like no one ever even thought about that? Something as simple as this to just like bring that like cultural identity to the Bears that's like modern. And I think credit to George McCaskey, who's I think the grandson of Virginia McCaskey, who's like the owner of the Bears, who recently passed, RIP. They had like an old school culture with the Bears under the McCaskies, where they even had rules in place where there was no swearing in the locker room or something like that, let alone posting that. And now under George McCaskey, he's kind of adopted and understood that this stuff shouldn't get in the way of establishing a culture of winning. Like you can have an Eberflus all day who doesn't swear and then lose every game. Is that what you want out of an organization? Or would you want an organization that has passion and energy and plays like how people who actually play or act like people who actually play football act? Like you can't tell me in college environments or in high school environments that no one's swearing or no one has that energy and no one has that animosity toward their rival teams. This is all part of kind of strong sports culture. And obviously this shouldn't extend to any kind of like physical altercations or any like real personal kind of animosities towards others, but having a real thriving and flourishing rivalry where we can actually compete and have our like not just get beat up all the time means something to not only the team but to the city. And you could see it. Like Soldier Field is literally like in our last two home games or the last two games against the Packers, literally buzzing, vibrating, electric, like energy just dispersed throughout the entirety of Soldier Field, which, in my opinion, is part of the reason why I think we should keep Soldier Field in Chicago. But I'm bouncing back and forth. For those who don't know, they're thinking about moving the Chicago Bears to a kind of domed, covered stadium in Arlington Heights, which at first I was like, how can it be in Arlington Heights? It's the Chicago Bears. But now that they've even mentioned that they've considered Northwest Indiana, I'll take Arlington Heights any day over that. I hope they don't do something stupid like that. But anyways, that's another story. But yeah, I mean, just to kind of put a pin on like the culture of the Bears right now, it's like an unreal shift, an unreal energy. And obviously this energy has to be kind of coincide with winning. Otherwise, you don't get that. And that's kind of the beautiful um dynamic that Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and the rest of the team have done with this team to kind of provide that culture of winning that just changes everything. And it's such a fun team to watch. It's like it motivates me in my own life. Like I'll listen to like a good, better, best chant after a win, and I'm like, I need to get my like life together. I need to do the best I can in my life. That's how real it is. And just seeing the energy in the city and like even with my dad who's been a fan since like 85, like he's witnessed the 85 Bears, seeing him like embrace like us as like the Bears win a crazy game and um seeing my family come together and like just have an unreal like unforgettable moments with this crazy Bears team is just like I'll never forget it, honestly. And I can even like post some clips of like our reactions to like the Packers games that we played or like other of our late game heroic games with my like watching with my family and let's go, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, let's go, Colston, let's go. Oh my god, 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 oh my god. Oh my god! Put some respect on the Bears! Put some respect on the Bears! Put some respect on the Bears! Hey, they're doing Hail Mary.
You better miss this.
Ah!
Oh my god, oh my god. Get in, get in, get in. No, just. It's over, it's over, it's over, it's over. It's over, it's over.
Yes!
We just won! Yes!
Yes! Yes! Woo! Cardiac Bears! Cardiac Taylor! Good, better, best! Never later risk! Okay, good gets better! It better gets best! Bears! Let's go! Let's go. Man, like in beating the Packers in this post game season, in this post game, or no, my bad, in the what's it called? In this postseason, that officially solidified this season as a success for me. Because if we lost to them that in the playoffs, that would have put like a damper on the rest of the season, even though in my mind it was a very successful season, that would have just ruined it all. So the fact that we've beat the Packers and now we're moving on to the divisional round against, excuse me, the LA Rams, I'm like playing with house money. I obviously 100% need the Bears to win and I want them to win, but the amount of distress I was in the day of or the whole week leading up to the Packers playoff game, man, probably took like time off my life as if I was like smoking, like, I don't know. It was just crazy. Like, it was such a stress on me. So to have that kind of lifted, um, I'm like, we're playing with house money now. Uh, but yeah, I think that's a kind of a good overview of like what this season has been for like the city of Chicago so far. And for me personally, um, it just literally feels like a resurgence to the point where other people in the media and other fans don't even know what to think of this team. I don't even know what to think of this team and how good we are actually because of all of like the magic that we do and all of like the dumb things that we also do as a team, like on offense and defense sometimes. But one thing's for sure, I'm not taking it for granted. This was such a amazing season, and it's still not even done. If we win the Super Bowl, it's over. I mean, literally over. But like, I can't even comprehend what would happen to this city, what happened to me if that happened. But man, just so proud of these players. And I think how I'm going to break on the second half of this podcast is like go through like this season specifically. But the fact that we've had 6 comeback wins in the regular season, being down with 2 minutes or less is unreal. And then people were like, oh, is this sustainable for the Bears to continue to do this, to give people heart attacks, AKA the cardiac Bears? And we were like, I bet. And did the exact same thing in Green Bay um, in the first game of the playoffs. And we've even lost games that we could have won in that same fashion. But I think Caleb Williams is just like the ultimate clutch factor player. And there's a reason why they call him Iceman, because he'd be a cold blooded and just cool and calm under pressure. And I don't know if I've seen a quarterback play like he plays. Like people make that like Mahomes comparison, which I obviously see where that comes from, but I don't know, man. There's just an energy to Caleb that's just different that I've never seen before. And I'm just so glad he's on our team. And even when it comes to like the second game that the Bears had against the Packers in this season at Soldier Field, where Caleb throws the game tying pass to Jade Walker, or as I like to say, Jade Skywalker, uh, in the end zone. One might have thought that that was like an overthrown or could be an overthrown pass, and he just barely got it in bounds. But if you really look at that play, and maybe I can put like a screenshot here, he was fully expecting the Packers to not be idiots on defense and actually be up on Jade. And he put it in a place where only Jade could get it. Lo and behold, the Packers just kind of uh lost their mind or just like fell asleep and like left Jade open. And it made it look kind of like scarier than it should have been. But had a player had a defensive back been on Jade, it still would have been in the perfect position for him to catch. So that's just like the brain of Caleb to just know exactly where to put the ball, especially in a clutch situation. It's just crazy. And then to have that final play with DJ Moore, literally once again, clutch city, putting it in the exact spot where only DJ could get it on Keyshawn Nixon, who was the same person who, I think earlier in that same game, like did a dirty ass hit and like hit DJ Moore in the back, caught him and burned him on a touchdown. And the same guy who, Keyshawn Nixon, who got the interception to seal the first Packers game uh, against the Bears, which we lost at the very last second. It was just like, this is a part of like the movie script where you're like, oh, that's too unrealistic. Oh, like that's plot armor. How could that like writing that? It's like, it's hard to believe. It's taking you out of the movie. But like, no, this is what actually has happened in real life. And it's unreal. Man, I feel like I'm talking all over the place. I'm jumping from like game to game, player to player. But even weeks later, after all of this has happened, it's still like even hard to process what this team is doing right now. So it's kind of like all over the place. But man, like the clutch moments that this team has done, the kind of heart attack moments this team has done, and they just can't make it look easy. They just gotta just scare us. But Caleb, like one of the like I guess the most pivotal moment of that, the most cardiac moment of all, I'd say, is Caleb Williams converting on 4th and 8 against the Packers um in our first the first round playoff game against them. if Caleb doesn't hit this pass, it's more than likely it's game over. Our season's ended because they'll get the ball back. Um, I think up already a touchdown or two touchdowns. It's game over at that point. And Caleb Williams hits the most one of the most unreal passes I've seen. Just rolling to his left, throwing off of almost no feet. I think he has like no feet on the ground and hitting Odunze in the most perfect position on the run. Not even that Odunze is even like in a static position. Like they're both strafing to the left and hitting him in a spot amongst four Packers in the most perfect spot with the season on the line. Even hitting like the Jordan Jumpman logo in the process. It's just one of the most iconic plays, if not the most iconic play in Bears history, at least modern history. I I don't think of many other people who can think of a more iconic throw from a Chicago Bears quarterback. And it's just honestly, it's like a blessing to be witnessing this um, in real life, in real time. Um, Man, I'm just like so hyped for this team. And that game was an insane game because the last two games with the Packers is like it literally felt like angels in the outfield, like God on our side. Like in the first game with the Packers having to miss or not be able to kind of protect an onside kick, an 8% chance of happening that the kicking team receives an onside kick and we got that. And then able to convert on all the plays that we did to come back and send that to overtime and to ultimately make a huge stop on the Packers and then take it downfield, score a touchdown. The most improbable of wins in that second matchup against the Packers. And then coming back and having to run it back with the Packers again. And once again being down 21-3 going into the fourth. And making that insane comeback with them on top of that making another touchdown in terms of the Packers is unreal. And the whole league is on watch. Like people have not witnessed something like this before in terms of the capacity that we're winning these games. And it was then the seventh time that we've done that in this kind of season, including regular season and postseason. And whether we think that is sustainable, I mean, I'm even sure that the Chicago Bears don't want to be always coming from behind. Pause. In the fashion that they are, and they'd rather be like ahead, kind of like how our game against the former Super Bowl champions Eagles went, where it was we won in a more dominant fashion. But man, I'll tell you, it's just magical. It's just insane. But yeah, I also like to shout out freaking Brandon McManus, or should I say Brandon McAnus, for being booty cheeks and missing 3 field goals, crucial, an extra point and 2 field goals, which leaves 7 points off the board for the Packers, leaving a whole touchdown plus an extra point off the board for the Packers, literally saving us. I mean, one of those, even if he landed one of those, we still got a touchdown and would have won anyways. But the fact that had they had that, one of those points, they would have been within 3 and could have settled for a field goal at the end of the game, but instead had to go for a touchdown. Changed everything. So shout out to Brandon McAnus for being a dumbass and missing 3 field goals. I'm highly doubt he'll still be with that team going into next year. And word on the street is their head coach, Matt LaFleur, who has been on record for not liking us the same way we don't like them, his job is probably on the line as well. And they might even trade him, since I think they didn't explicitly fire him just yet. But, which is kind of weird. It was like, there was a reporter at the end of that game asking him if he's going to stay with that team. It was kind of effed up question. You can't be like, asking that to the coach of the team right after he lost. So that was kind of, in my opinion, inappropriate, regardless of the fact that I hate the Packers. Um, but yeah, it just feels good to not be on that side of the rivalry. Um, I'm trying to think of like I think I just want to like run through this team and the players that we have right now and to see where that lines us up for next week. Or actually, this in a few days, our divisional playoff game against the LA Rams, which a lot of people are saying, I mean, on paper, the Rams are a better team than us. And it's obviously a very scary matchup to go against a strong offense like that when our defense is kind of like cheeks a lot of the time. But hopefully, that Chicago weather, which is going to be like in single digit degrees, will come through and provide some kind of home field advantage to the against a Los Angeles team who's not accustomed to playing in that kind of environment and climate. But yeah, I just wanted to go through this team that we have and give kind of like my flowers to this team and also kind of my like where we can benefit um in terms of players. But in terms of offense, I mean, I've talked about Caleb Williams and the amazing things he's done. So kind of got that out the way. But man, we're so lucky to have him. I'm so happy that we have a generational quarterback literally so early in his career, just moving like a veteran. Like he has a veteran presence. He's yelling at his teammates to kind of like pick up the pace and to his mantra or go-to quote with his team is do your job. Do your fucking job. And people look at him like, oh, he's having a hissy fit on the sidelines. But if Tom Brady, who actually has had this exact same emotions, they praise him on his intensity and his passion. So I just think that's unfair criticisms to um, Caleb Williams. He's literally put his team on his back in something that, like, I mean, I loved him, but like Jay Cutler would never do. Like, he doesn't just like sit and pout. He riles his team up and he rallies them up to kind of be the best versions of themselves. And I think him working with Ben Johnson, having like both of them being on the same page, even Caleb's is like kind of shortcomings in terms of his like general accuracy of throwing the ball will all be fixed, and he's gonna be like a legendary quarterback, inshallah. So getting into the rest of the team, like the offense, like our wide receiver one, DJ Moore, a vet on the team and literally has come through in the clutch for us so much this year. And there's been moments where people have kind of questioned his kind of energy and involvement and effort. But I think when it matters most, DJ Moore has always been reliable for us. And then having our young core of just like rookie and second year players like Roma Dunze being like all reliable for our team, like essentially I would say like our wide receiver two, if that's not already on the uh roster, whatever. Like a love roll came up clutch in that catch against the Packers off of coming off of an injury, literally playing with healing a broken foot, but came in and came through clutch. So I love Rome. Luther Burden, man. Luther Burden's a dog. When Ben Johnson asked if we were getting a dog, and he's like, yeah, that was true. I love Luther Burden. Probably one of my favorite players on this team, aside from like obviously like the Caleb. But like I just from the very beginning, from like my first watches of him taking snaps, Luther Burden just coming through, like just reliable. And the fact that like he gets hella yards after catch and he just never like he doesn't catch and is just like done with it. Like he always puts in the extra effort to kind of gain extra yards and put in that work to get like the first downs. And it's just I love Luther Burden, man. Literally a dog. And his energy is just contagious. Like him being a rookie, but having like he like stands 10 toes down with his skill set. Like him doing his Darth Vader choke on that Packers player. It's like literally iconic. And then him converting that into his like first down celebration is literally perfect. Like our team just has hella aura, man. That's all I could say. I'm surprised I haven't even used that word yet, but our team has aura. And maybe sometimes we just thrive off of just aura moments and not playing actual defense sometimes. But the fact that our team kind of just has this like cultural vibe to them where like we have like an identity and something to us that's beyond just football. It's like the intangibles. I love it. So Luther Burden's a dog, man. I love him. And another dog, big dog, Colston Loveland, rookie, unreal performances, not only as of late, but throughout the season. And people, and well, obviously for those who don't know, that's like our rookie tight end. People were complaining that the Bears took Colston in the draft and didn't take Tyler Warren, who was the other premier tight end in that same draft. And it's been like a big comparison between the two. But honestly, man, I'm so happy we took Colston. Like this dude does everything. He runs routes like he's a receiver. He blocks like he's a lineman. He's just his hands are so reliable. I think I've only seen him drop a catch once. It's man, I love this kid. And he's like he's a white boy who got motion, man. Of course you want him on a team. Uh he's just super dope and like super reliable and I'm excited to see that kind of 1-2 punch between Caleb and this like young receiving core and tight end core. Hopefully they're able to like grow and flourish together and kind of be the second coming of like what a Mahomes and Travis Kelsey kind of dynamic duo uh are. But man, Colson Loveland, dog. And Swift, and then going to like our backfield, like Swift and Monungai, DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monungai are running backs. That's a real 1-2 punch. And it's being compared to the Detroit Lions. I don't know if their 1-2 punch of Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery, also known as Sonic and Knuckles, which I've seen like that was like their like duo name, but I've been seeing things of our duo of running backs going by Silver and Shadow, which I'm like, hell yeah. I'm guessing Swift would be more of a Silver and Monungai the Shadow. Because when Swift runs, like he makes like strategic cuts. Like I could see him like analyzing and cutting in like at the like cutting in on like a dime and just getting that extra yardage, like being untouchable. Whereas Monungai is just like downhill running like the juggernaut, uh, getting people on him and still just going and going. And as they say, angry runs. Man, I love those guys. Just although small in stature, they're big bodied. And I just like love that energy that they bring. And then I can't talk about the our running back core without giving credit to our offensive line. They've been, I think, doing a great job. Like, although Caleb is very elusive and hard to tackle, I feel like our offensive line still gives him enough time to like be in the pocket more than he was able to last season and not get sacked as much as he was last season. So that's been great. Although we did take a big hit to our offensive line in losing Ozzie Trapillo in the Packers playoff game. I believe a rookie as well. Like our rookies have been playing out of their mind, to be honest. Like one of our best draft classes of rookies that we've gotten that I can remember. And so him being out, and honestly, what an awareness of him, like so tough that he like tore his patella, I think, and literally got up off the field himself so he can get off the field uh and not have the Bears take an extra timeout, an injury timeout, which allowed them to kind of have that in their pocket later on in the game. So just the awareness and like vet move from like a rookie is amazing. So, but unfortunately, That's a severe injury, and he's going to be out for the season. And it looks like Theo Benedict's going to be taking that spot, uh, which people are saying that like, I don't know much about our lineman, but that he's kind of had a lot of reps earlier this year, and he has his own kind of like skill set that he's like good at. In which case, people are saying like we might have a better running attack because he's good at run blocking. So that's something our run game has kind of been off the last few games. So if we could get that going against the Rams, we need that, especially in that bad weather, to compete with them, to just keep it on the ground for as long as we can until we can hit like Caleb Williams to throw bombs. But yeah, that's a tough loss right there for our offensive line. But yeah, I mean, this team, oh, and a big part of our offense that has kind of been an unsung hero for a lot of these games, especially recently, is Cairo Santos, our kicker, man. This guy is kicking in like horrible weather and just being money. And although this guy doesn't have a leg on him enough to like kick distances, he's accurate as hell, man. And I'm just like happy we have him and not McManus. But I just wanted to shout out Cairo, man. That dude keeping us alive in a lot of games. So, and then, man, our defense. And listen, man, our defense has a lot of work to do. And although we're great at like getting turnovers, being leading the league in turnovers to be precise, it just seems we can't get a stop sometimes. And we're letting like offenses just like walk us down and have like the time of possession go in favor of the opposing team's offense for like they'll like a team will just have the ball for the whole quarter and not give enough time for our offense to kind of uh get their like repetitions in and get their momentum going. Except for obviously the second half of the Packers playoff game where they were just shut down. So I mean, we did lose TJ Edwards to like he literally like broke his leg, I think. So that's gonna be a big like our linebacker kind of our like defensive kind of captain of that like squad. So that's gonna be a tough hit, but uh DeMarco Jackson,
Dom
DeMarco,
DeMarco.
but DeMarco Jackson's gonna take his spot, and he has a speed like advantage that TJ Edwards kind of wasn't really coming through with. So hopefully that helps because our defense is looking slow as hell. Like they're just getting burned and beat left and right, especially in the secondary. But we're just not like that's why I think we have better red zone defense than like just regular defense because our players don't have to move that much and we're able to like be more glued because we have the skilled players and maybe it's I think they're going through like injuries and it's the end of the year and they're like not moving at like the pace that is enough to keep up with some of these like elite offenses, but hopefully they'd be more rested and we can get some fresh legs in DeMarco Jackson and Kyler Gordon coming back in after his like return with Green Bay. Hopefully he's all set and hopefully our defensive players, their speed comes uh back up and we ramp it up, especially going against LA. Like they're just like a run and gun team and we got to catch Puka Nakua, man, the wide receiver on the Rams. Like we let Amon-Ra St. Brown and the Detroit Lions like basically single-handedly walk us down, and I'm scared that they're gonna let Puka Nakua do that to us. So we just got to lock in with that. So hopefully, our defensive coordinator Dennis Allen's able to get that locked in because man, we've been kind of getting burned on defense a lot lately. But going down this like defensive squad, like Montez Sweat, he's like our defensive lineman. I think I'm like over explaining for people who probably are not as well versed in like not only the Bears but football in general. But Montez Sweat, our lineman, whose like job it is to like sack the quarterback and get after him, was kind of been underwhelming for a lot of the games as of late, and our pass rush has been kind of whack. But he was able to get it together against the Packers and really put pressure on Jordan Love and make him look like a frantic guy in the backfield trying to get like his throws off. So that helped us a lot. It's part of the reason why he got that game ball. But yeah, like we need him to come through heavy. And then Austin Booker has been playing great. Our other defensive lineman. Um, he's not only getting the quarterback, he's getting his hands up, he's getting blocks, he's getting tips, and that's we're gonna need that, especially against Matthew Stafford and the Rams and Tremaine Edmonds. Freaking oh my god, what can man, I love Tremaine, man. Even though sometimes he be missing some tackles, or I'm just like, bro, come on, please. But Tremaine Edmonds, if you're like following the Bears, is the guy who's like, it's Chicago, yeah.
It's Chicago! Yeah! It's Chicago! Yeah! It's Chicago! Chicago! Yeah! It's Chicago! It's Chicago! It's Chicago! Yeah! It's Chicago! It's Chicago! Yeah! Yeah!
And that's like another emphasis of like another cultural or like team culture that we're building that's like emanating throughout the city. Whereas everyone's saying, it's Chicago, yeah. And man, I love this team, man. What that dude Maine be saying? It's Chicago. People are gonna say he's gonna drop the N bomb after that if we win a championship, which I think he already did against the Packers on that win because the emotions were just crazy. But I mean, I love this team, man. And then having vets like Kevin Byard really get our defense locked in and provide that like presence and leadership on the defensive end, I think is super dope. And then having just like very opportunistic players like Kevin Byard, CJ Gardner Johnson, Deshaun Wright, just if they're not getting beat, please, like if they're not getting beat, they'll get the picks. But they just need to get faster. But they have the like the defensive instincts, which is why we have so many kind of takeaways in this season. So if they just get that speed up, man, our defense is scary. But yeah, let me see. What else do I even say, man? I just love this team. And like I said before, there's probably a bunch of things that I probably forgot to talk about. I mean, like one of the things is like Caleb's praise of Ben Johnson and him giving him like getting emotional, giving Ben Johnson the game ball, which I think he got a second game ball. People think it's the game ball that Ben gave to him, but Caleb kind of praising Ben Johnson, everything he's done for him in his life and like getting emotional. That made me emotional. I almost started goddamn crying.
For me personally, he's been, get emotional. For me personally, he's been monumental in my life so far.
Yeah.
And, So, to his first playoff win as a Chicago Bear.
Man, I love this team. It's just there's like real like these players want to prove something. They're like they have a chip on their shoulder. Both Caleb, Ben, the rest of the team, this whole organization. It's just magical, man. I kept saying it throughout this whole podcast, but it's nothing short of magical what this team's got going on. But yeah. Let me see. This is the most notes I've ever written for a podcast, man. I'm trying to think of anything I've missed. Oh man, I almost forgot. Another way, one way I could tie this back to being Danger Knock for real is like obviously like, oh, this whole season's been a movie, but I really liked when Caleb Williams compared his starting linemen to the Avengers. Let me look it up. What he called each of them. Caleb Williams It's funny because he's also called Iceman, which is an X-Men. Oh yeah, he calls Ozzy Trapillo Wolverine, Joe Tooney Doctor Strange, Drew Dahlman the Hulk, Jonah Jackson. It's funny. It's like J. Jonah Jameson as the Red Hulk and Darnell Wright as Bucky. Um, I mean, only Doctor Strange and the Hulk are, and I guess Bucky are Avengers here. Wolverine and the Red Hulk are not Avengers, but I'll let him slide. But man, his reposts are so funny. Like, do yourself a favor and go follow Caleb Williams either on on Instagram and on TikTok. But he knows ball. Like he be making a lot of like comic book references and shit. So even more reason as why I love Caleb Williams. But and the fact that like Caleb is so like chronically online and he's seeing all like the tweets and like the haters like in game and in press conferences, he's like locked in and he's very like just focused on the game. But like in social media world, he's very tuned in as well. And even with what's his face, Lil Wayne talking shit about him for like painting his nails and whatever, Caleb responds on Twitter and uses like a Lil Wayne song in his posts. And I love just like the memes that he shares related to the games and just generally. It's just so funny having like this Gen Z quarterback instill fear in other like teams in the fourth quarter and have so much energy and drive and then just be like posting like Marvel memes afterwards. But yeah, this team is something special, man. And another aspect of like this culture that's being built with this team, even like within the city, is down to like the cheese grater hats. Since our rivals are the Packers, their kind of whole like identity is like they're the cheese heads, and so they have these foam heads of foam like cheeses like hats that they put on. And it's actually funny. There was like a store owner who started making them themselves, and then the Packers did like a cease and desist on him for like, oh, you can't be making the cheese Packers. So in retaliation, he made like a cheese grater hat, and then DJ Moore put that on against his game winner in the in season game against the Packers, and that just like took off. So to see that like everywhere, like the cheese grater hats, is like even more uh identity for this team to have, and it's honestly becoming like a force in this league and in the city of Chicago, and reinvigorates the city of Chicago. Like people are like not even caring that it's cold outside because like this energy that the Bears are bringing is like heating us all up. But yeah, I wanted to mention that as well uh, as another fun moment of this season. Man, this season is an unforgettable season. I'm gonna tell my kids about this season. Uh, I can't. I'm trying to think of any other word than magical, but can't think of one. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said before in this podcast, we're playing with house money, but knowing this Bears team, we always have a fighting a chance against anybody, and maybe we'll make it to the Super Bowl. This team is so young and has so much promise. Like Luther Burden's going to be a top receiver in the league. Caleb Williams obviously going to be a top quarterback. Colson Loveland's going to be a top tight end. Like we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Monungai's a rookie as well. Like if we keep this whole squad together and everyone stays healthy and inshallah, like everything goes according to plan, like I see a lot of success with this team. And I'm just so happy that all of my effort in being a fan for the last 29 years is finally coming to like a real fruition right now. And like, hopefully we're not just the cardiac Bears moving forward and we're just like the Super Bowl championship Bears, Super Bowl champion Bears. And we're winning a little bit more handedly for my own sake, my own heart's sake. But yeah, man, I don't know what to say except for good, better, best. Peace.